What's up, y'all? It is your girl, Sarah from Sarah Styles here. I am bringing you 3 things you need to know to be a successful reseller. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining. If you are new here, I am a reseller, which means I purchase things from thrift stores and resell them online for profit on eBay, PoshMark, and other various platforms. I also have a degree in mathematics and do data analytics on this channel and also on my Instagram. And I have 2 dashboards for sale on Etsy that help resellers hit their monetary goals and then also source smarter and not harder. Links for all of those are down below. I'm currently doing a discount of 50% off as we are all stuck inside right now. It is the perfect time to look at your data and strategize your business to hit your monetary goals. So the link or the code for that is spring, and it'll be good for a month. And then if you're watching this video in the recording and it is past a month, send me a DM on Instagram or on Etsy if you're interested. And I usually have some kind of promo going. And just let me know that you saw it here, and we will figure out. I'll give you the most current promo I have. So make sure to hit subscribe if you like content like this and you're not already following me, and hit the little bell to get all the notifications when new content comes out. I also do a lot of reseller live videos with other resellers because I think we can learn so much from each other, talking and chatting with each other. I am by no means an expert in everything reselling, and so I'd like to have other people come on and chat. And I think just chatting with each other, we learn a lot of things about how other people do, and we can grow and learn together. So I try and do those at least once a week as well. We are currently moving, so please excuse the background, and everywhere else in my house is kind of a mess right now, and we just got back from a walk. I'm trying to get exercise during this time to stay energized, have endorphins running, and just get some fresh air. I find has really been helping us. So what are you guys doing to kind of stay out of the funk? Leave comments down below. Also leave your closet down below so that I can give you some share love. Other people can give you share love that are watching this video, and we can just all support each other and shop from each other's closets. If you are doing reseller boxes right now, definitely leave that information down below so people know where to find them and find inventory as stores are closed. Today, I am doing the video where we are going to talk about 3 things you must know as a reseller to be successful. And I'm going to say, so knowing brands, yes, that's important, but there are so many brands out there, you can't possibly know all of them. Watch and learn brands, but something different is going to work for everybody. And that's why knowing these 3 things will work for every single person out there, because it'll be tailored to you. And I'm going to say too that I know that this works because I did it. I am living proof that it works. The second that I started paying attention to these things, my profits nearly doubled. I was able to, and I've only been reselling a little over a year, almost a year and a half now. And so I'm not a pro. I don't know I'm really new to eBay. I'm still learning how eBay works. I don't know all the tips and tricks. I don't know all the brands. Talia, I don't know. I'm also a mom of 3 children, so you may hear them in and out. I don't know all of those things, but the second that I started using these things to guide my business and to guide my reselling, my profits doubled. Those 3 things are, and I'll get into them a little bit more: COGS, cost of goods, know your cost of goods, know your average sale price, and know sell-through rates. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what each one of these things are and how knowing them will be helpful. First, cost of goods. The cost of goods is how much the item costs, essentially. I'm not an accountant, so I'm not going to get down to the nitty-gritty of how to account for these from an accounting perspective and tax perspective, but from a business strategy perspective, knowing how much you're spending on an item, because you need to know how much you're going to make on that item. You don't want to be purchasing things that aren't going to be giving you a good profit. And that is where knowing your average sale price comes into play. Because then once you know your average sale price, you can take out how much it costs you and get an average profit. And having those things can be mind-blowing when you're outsourcing. It means that you don't have to know all of the brands out there. All you have to know is how to look up comps and how to know what you're striving for. If you are out shopping and you find an item, you're like, I've never heard of this brand, I don't know if it's good, you go back to the math and say, okay, my average sale price, I looked at the comps, the average sale price for this is $30. I'm spending $5 on it. That gives me, so I'm going to take out roughly 20% off the top depending on where you source. But so 20% off of that is $6 off of the top. So now I'm at $24, and then I take the $5 that it's costing me and I'm at $19 profit. Is that worth my time? And that question is going to be different for every single person. And I'm going to show you in my dashboard, the simulator will give you these numbers that you need to hit the monetary goals that you want to get to. You can say, hey, I want to make, let's look at it. Okay, so this is the dashboard. This is the sales dashboard. If you have it, you're familiar with it. If you don't, it is for sale on Etsy, and that code that I shared earlier, you can purchase it. Lots of information in here. It's a simple copy and paste your sales report from PoshMark in here. I have lots of videos on how to do it. And then you can also enter in your custom data, which will calculate your COGS. Just having an average COG helps guide you when you are outsourcing. So here for February, these numbers are made up because I don't have them handy with me right now, but for the sake of this video, you know, it'll show you what to do. So let's say you spent $300 in February. You purchased 98 items. On average, your COG is $3. And then you can go over here to Poshmark and it'll say, okay, in February, this is how much you sold. Here's your average sale item less the fees, but then you want to take out your COGS. This is your average profit per item. Now, if you want to make more money, and that's what we are all here doing, you want to increase your profit or you want to sell more items. And that is where the simulator comes in handy, because you can enter in. When you log into the dashboard, when you log into the dashboard, it'll ask you how much you want to make next month, and you can enter in as many different scenarios as you want. For the sake of this video, I put in $3,000. It's a little bit more than I had made in February or the time frame that I ran for this video. And so I put $3,000. So this is telling me I need to increase my average profit per item to $24.19, and that's coming up from $21. And so now I have a guideline. I need to increase it by $3. That seems very manageable and very doable, right? And so now I have guidance when I am now I have guidance when I am outsourcing. Sorry, I'm a mom and my kids are playing in the backyard and I keep hearing them and they're distracting me. So now I have guidance when I'm outsourcing. I can say, hey, yeah, I don't know all these brands, and maybe I'm not going to find, you know, Kate Spade and Coach and all these BOLO brands that I see on YouTube videos, but I have guidance to know what items to purchase and what items to pick up that are going to make me the money that I want to make. I can go to a thrift store and say, hey, I'm not purchasing anything that is going to give me less than $24 a profit. And I will tell you that this absolutely works, because you can look at this chart right here. You can see exactly when I started using my data to source. When I started only purchasing items that gave me that profit so that I could hit my monetary goals, my revenue increased. I mean, it's not by a little, it nearly doubled as soon as I started using my data to drive my sales. I didn't know brands. I was maybe 6 months into reselling when I started really looking at my data and using my data to drive. So the third thing, the first two things are COGS and average sale price. The third thing that you need to know is sell-through rate. And what is sell-through rate? Sell-through rate is essentially telling you how well you're doing. Of the items you're buying, how much of those are selling? And it tells you that as a percentage. So if you were selling every single thing that you purchase, you would have 100% sell-through rate. If you were only selling 10 items out of 100, you would have a 10% sell-through rate. And so, the ideal situation is to get to 100% sell-through rate. So now this is the inventory dashboard. Now you can start looking at your inventory and saying, what is selling well for me? Not what are these BOLO brands that all these big YouTubers are finding that I'm never gonna see or that I don't know, but what do I know and what is working for me? And then you can test out some new things and say, oh, how did it work? And so this is the inventory dashboard that we're looking at now. Here, you can go in here and look at your average sale price items and say, what categories are above that average sale price in my simulator? Those are the categories that I want to focus on. And what categories are lower than the average sale price that I want to get to increase my profit? Okay, I am going to work on purchasing only items that are above that $24 for the purpose of this video. And then you come down and you look at your sell-through rate and you say, okay, and this data was a short time period, so my sell-through rates here aren't great. Look at a large scale of data. Look at months, a season, or even all of last year. What categories are performing well for you? So here, shoes, my sell-through rate for shoes is one of my highest sell-through rates, and it's also one of my highest average sale price. I'm gonna focus on that because I know that is what is working well for me. And it could be because I'm good at picking out shoes. I have lots of inventory available for shoes. I'm good at marketing shoes, whatever it is, but now I know what is working well for me, and I know that because of my sell-through rate. Other ones that work well for me, bags are up there, jeans are up there. So I can look at my sell-through rates for my categories and decide what is working well for me. I can also go down through and say, okay, now I know shoes work well for me, but what sizes do I really want to focus on? I'm not just going to buy things if they're going to sit around. I want to purchase items that are going to sell and are going to make me money. I'm looking at shoes for this time period. What shoes have a high sell-through rate? What shoes I'm purchasing, how many of those are selling? The higher, closer to 100% you get, the more shoes or whatever category you're looking at, the more you're selling, the better it performs for you. The ones that you have on hand that aren't selling, be very specific when you're picking up those sizes. You can also come look at subcategories in here and say, okay, and look at subcategories and say, what kinds of shoes are selling for me? What kinds of shoes have a high sell-through rate? Ankle boots and booties, cool. That's what I'm gonna focus on. Sandals are low. That could be seasonal because I think this was winter data. Hold on, children interruption. What happened? Hey, we got a long ways into this before I got interrupted. So now you're looking at shoes and you can look at subcategories and focus on what is working for you. Mules and clogs, a 43% sell-through rate. Cool, I'm gonna be more specific in looking and purchasing those. So when you're at the store, if you're a thrifter, you don't necessarily get to choose what inventory you have access to, but you can absolutely choose what you're spending your money on, because if you're spending your money on items that are sitting there, you are losing money. You can now say, hey, I'm gonna spend X amount of dollars at the thrift store, and instead of just guessing what I'm going to buy, if I find mules, I know that I'm going to be picking those up. If I find ankle boots and booties, I know that I have a high sell-through rate there. You can also look at your departments. I mainly sell women's just because I like women's and I don't know a lot about men's, but you can look at your different categories and say, okay, cool, women's, what is giving me a high sell-through rate in women's? Again, shoes is up there, jeans is up there. But then what isn't working for me? And I can either choose not to do it because I have a low sell-through rate. Jewelry is a low sell-through rate for me. Okay, maybe I'm not going to pick it up anymore. Or maybe that's something that I'm going to do more research on and learn more about so that I can increase my sell-through rate in that category. So it's that simple. You don't need to know all the brands. You don't need to have access to all of these great Bolo brands or liquidation palettes. You simply have to know what is working for you and how to be able to tell that, how to be able to make choices when you are outsourcing, whether it's thrift stores or even right now it's online sourcing. If you're going to be purchasing things online sourcing, how do you know what to purchase? And you're gonna go through, hit the simulator, figure out what you need your average sale price to be, and only purchase items that are going to produce that high average sale price for you. And once you do that, go into the categories, go into the sizes, and really look at your sell-through rate. What is performing well for you? So knowing your COGS, knowing your average sale price, knowing your sell-through rates, those three things, when I hunkered down and I focused, I nearly doubled my profits after only reselling for 6 months. I am not a pro. I don't know all the BOLO brands. I don't even know how eBay really even works, to be honest. You don't have to be a seasoned, I've done this for 10-year seller to be able to make the profit that you want to make. So leave notes down below. How do you guys, what performs well for you? What sell-through rates? What categories have good sell-through rates for you? I'd love to hear what works different for everybody, because something different does work different for, something different works for everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and are staying sane and safe out there in whatever capacity works for you.